Thank you guys so much for being here. We have a couple of the filmmakers that I'd love to invite on up to speak about the project. So if I can get Stacey McClan up here, one of the producers of Bar Daddy, and Jamie Burton Orr, writer, director, producer of Breathe. Come on up, my friends. Is anyone else that worked on the film over here? All right, let me actually turn this on and not use my theater voice. There we go. Oh, wow, yeah, I really don't have to. Sit over there and I'll be over here.
Get the red chair, yes.
Is everyone all right? I'm sorry about that. Congratulations, both of you. I feel like I'm watching Black History today in this block, right? Some incredible human beings. Incredible human beings. Eric and Erica Green, Al Jenkins, people that everyone should be knowing. And I want to thank you both for bringing their stories into the light and letting people hear today. I had the pleasure of watching Breathe the other day, and Bar Daddy today, and also people at home who are live streaming to be able to learn and to also get the inspiration of what Al is doing now and who Eric and Erica, what their legacy has brought us, right? So I'd love to talk a little bit about these films, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about how you got wrapped up in the story of these folks. So let's start with Al and you, Stacey. How did Al's story come to you, and what made you decide to be a part of this and bring this to life on the screen?
Sure. So I'm a member of the Black Association of Documentary Filmmakers in LA, and we have Zoom meetings, and one of the meetings, the director of Bar Daddy, Jay Guerin, was talking about this film that he had been making at that time for 2 years. And I said, oh, I was one of Al's students. And he was like, that's my uncle. And I was like, really? So I came on as a producer that way. So filmmaking is my third career, and I did attend law school, and Al was one of my, was my mentor, so.
Tell us a little bit before we go to Breathe, tell us a little bit about how long that journey of studying was for you, being a student of Al's, because what I took so much from the film was just the idea and the important aspect of mentorship and patronage, and just like someone supporting you and pushing. One of the things that Al said in the film that really hit was, it was like, Black families are the ones who used to lean on their kids to work and learn and get the knowledge, and that's just not the case anymore. And he was like, we're missing people who just push and push and push. And he was like, it's actually simple, just do the work. Just do the work. So how long was that process for you of studying for the bar and being under Al's mentorship?
Well, it was a long process. So I went to law school in Denver, and then studied for California Bar in LA at my parents' house, which was not a good place to study. They were supportive, but as Melissa said in the film, it's just, they didn't know certain things, in that you really need to be by yourself and just be isolated, and it just, yeah. So anyway, I didn't pass the bar. I took California Bar 3 times, still didn't pass, so I'm not a licensed attorney, so I'm a law school graduate. And this statistic is real. The bar study hours, it's a lot. It's all day, 12, 13, 14, 16 hours. There are 22 subjects. Before California bar exam, used to be 3 full 8-hour days. Now it's been reduced to 2 days. But yeah.
Wow, that is a lot of work. But filmmaking is also a lot of work. Yeah. So here you are. Let's talk a little bit about Breathe. How did you get wrapped up in Eric and Erica's story, and what made you want to bring it to life and honor them?
So I thank you all for being here too. I am from Flint, Michigan. I was born in San Francisco, but I grew up in Flint, Michigan. And my first experience with cops killing an innocent Black man, for me, that I recall, was Malice Green in Detroit, and he worked in the auto industry. So that hit me a certain way. I still have the article from that incident when I was young. When this happened to Eric Garner, we had just lost Michael Brown. It just kept happening. Rodney King, and it's like at this point people have become numb. So I was starting my last semester of graduate school, getting my MFA in screenwriting, and I had to take a short film class, and I did not want to. I was like, short film? I already know how to make a short film. don't say that to yourself. You don't know what you don't know. But I had a great professor, and what came to me was this story. It just came. And I just honored, where it came from and just wrote. So I feel like I was a vessel who said yes. And then when I was done with that class, we did a reading. And my professor was like, pulled me to the side, like, you got to make this. And I knew I would, but I just didn't know when. So I reached out to Ramsey Orta, who filmed the actual incident, who was portrayed in my film. And I reached out eventually to Emerald Garner, and they both read my script. They said yes as far as their support, and that was it.
Thank you. Watching this the other day, I know I spoke with you about how some of those scripted scenes are really hard to watch because, like you just said, we're desensitized at this point, which is like the biggest unfortunate sad news in the world, right? But today what really hit me was the ending of the film with Eric's family speaking at the graves, and that was just really lovely for me today. What made you decide to end the film with that and real footage of the family at the graves?
Thank you for asking that. So I was originally gonna trying to film it around his birthday, his anniversary of his death day, which is 2 days from today, in 2022. And I was all set. My lead actor was set. We were doing it at that time. And then Emerald Garner was doing a program with her We Can't Breathe organization around his killing. And my lead actor got booked in The Color Purple. So he's in the movie The Color Purple. And he couldn't shoot. So I had to move it. But I had already set it up where we were gonna film Emerald in some of the activities, and I wanted to use it in the credits. And so some things went wrong, didn't go as planned for her preparation, and she ended up doing a memorial at the gravesite. And I asked her if it would be okay if I filmed that. And she said yes, which was, super personal. So she said yes, and I told her why I wanted to, and she trusted me. So when it came to the end, I wanted people to have a direction. What could they do with whatever they were feeling? And I want people to support Emerald Garner. She's still fighting. She still needs support. Even financial support. She's raising her sister's children. So yeah, that's why.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you. For both of you who've processed and created these stories, almost a little chip on your shoulder for these folks to honor them, and whether it's in memory of or in honor of the work that continues, what challenges as a filmmaker did you both have in working with real people that deserve to have their stories honored in a way that they want it to, right? So any conversations that you had with either the families of or with Al and his team in order to make sure that you showed them in the best light? Were there any challenges or any interesting stories that you might want to share with us?
So I was the producer for Bar Daddy, and the director, like I said, is Jay Guerin. There are 3 other producers, Michael Preston, Evangeline Mitchell, and David Massey. And so we each had our roles, but because I was explaining.
Stories, challenges with working with real people.
Right. So Al didn't care. I didn't work with Al directly at all for the film, but his nephew, the director Jay, did, and Jay has said that Al didn't care. He just gave Jay his life rights to do what he wanted. He's not concerned with anything. So yeah, that was easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. He seems like he has no ego at all. Al seems like the chillest guy in the world. He's like, I'm here to do the work and to be good. So that makes a lot of sense. He's just like, take my story and do something with it. I'm glad that was that easy. Good.
He actually did. He's very humble, so he doesn't even realize that what he's done. He just saw a problem and is just fulfilling the need, like it's his passion, but I don't think he realizes the significance of how many people he's impacted.
Wow. One of my other favorite things he said was, are you black? And do you want to pass the bar?
Come on, right.
That's all you have to pay. I was like, it's a simple. So yeah, humble as hell. What about you for Breathe?
Oh man, I had lots of challenges. I'll start here. Well, to answer the question with the families. So, first of all, Ramsey, when I first reached out to Ramsey, there's an 8-year gap from when I wrote this piece and when it was made. I was working on other stuff, so, and then I didn't have the money to do this, and I didn't think I had, I just didn't know I could do it yet because of all the stuff I wrote in there. And I reached out to Ramsey on YouTube, and he was locked up. Immediately after he filmed this video, the police came down on him hard. So I caught him in that spell, and sometimes from jail they can communicate different ways. So we had a brief communication in which he had said yes. So that was that. And then I pursued Emerald Garner, Eric's daughter that's living, and I finally got to her, and she read the script, and she said yes. She had to send it to the attorney first. Fast forward, I applied for this money I thought I would get. I didn't get it. Moved to 2022, and I realized someone else asked me to produce a short, and I wasn't thinking about this film like that, and all the elements, like using a cop car and sirens and the violence I had to deal with in that film. So when it was over, literally God put the thought. When I say God speaks to me, I'm talking about what I define as a clear thought. So God gave me a clear thought that said, you can do Breathe now. And I just listened and was like, oh, shoot, I can, because these are the same elements. So I went into motion. I had never done a GoFundMe yet to ask for money yet. And I was a filmmaker that people knew would finish the job. So I just pulled the trigger, and I used I made a GoFundMe. And I'm very strategic, and the day I went to promote and release the GoFundMe and announced it and sent it to everyone, that morning the GoFundMe was shut down. And I didn't know that GoFundMe restricts, if you say you're going to give a silver level, platinum level, or some kind of like a t-shirt or anything, they don't want that anymore. So the rules change. If you say that, they don't tell you clearly that's the problem, but they shut you down. That scared the living daylights out of me, because I said, what if I'm a week away from production and I have all the money and they decide there's a technicality and there's no one on the phone to call and I can't shoot my film? So I was terrified, scared, and angry, and then God gave me another thought: be your own GoFundMe. So I literally started emailing the same campaign I had done, all my visuals. I just started emailing, and I started amassing emails, and I would blind copy so nobody could see whose name was on it. And that's how I raised my money. And that's just one of the challenges.
I have one final question just about the producing of it and getting what you need to make the project happen before we open up to anyone out here who would like to ask a question. Wild crowdfunding story that was shut down, and you're like, I gotta do this my dang self. Congratulations on that. And how much did you have to fund for this, and how much did you have to raise by personal emails? And then for you as well, Stacey, what was the producing journey like in order to get the resources that you needed in order to film all of this footage?
So I'll just say this. We're not truthful sometimes when we answer budget questions, because we're trying to get more money for whatever we've done. With that in mind, this part is truthful. I adhered to the SAG agreement that said you had to make a film for $20,000 to use SAG actors or less, which is how I got Stephen Hill, who is on Magnum PI, and he's in The Color Purple. I was able to satisfy the SAG requirement. Even myself, I'm in SAG. And I did that rule, and so I raised that money for that.
20 grand, absolutely, absolutely.
So my producing role, I wasn't dealing with financials, thankfully, but I do know Jay basically funded the film himself, and I'm working on a separate documentary, so I'm doing the self-funding that one as well, so it's just a real thing for many indie filmmakers.
Especially in the documentary space, you know, people have to be passionate about the true stories that you're telling in order to give and support. Thank you both. I'm going to open up to anyone out here if you have any questions. Back row.
Hi, this is related to Bar Daddy. It brought back memories for me. I just retired from the practice of law in April.
Congratulations. We just retired from the practice of law in April.
So there was a young lady who did not pass, and I was wondering, was she tutored by Alfred?
Yeah, the question is, there was a young lady in the film who did not pass, and what was her experience being tutored by Al?
Yes, she was tutored by him, and she did not pass. She's still taking the bar exam and trying to pass. So he has many repeat students. As he mentioned in the film, 5, 6, 7. There have been people 30. Maxie Weiler, you know, from LA. He's, I think, over 80 times he took it. There's many politicians that are politicians in California that took the bar exam multiple times. So it's not uncommon.
If they want it, they're gonna get it. Listen, and what I loved about that moment when she got her failed notification, the first thing she did was breathe.
Yep.
I guess I'll do it again. And she said that, right? And I was like, that's exactly, this is what's gonna make her happy, you know? So it's that diligence. But yeah, and Al supports that, it sounds like. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions from our viewers for today's 2 films out here? If your hand is raised and I can't see it because of the light, just shout out for me. Right here in the center.
So it's a question for both filmmakers, like what are you working on next?
I was going to ask that question too. What are these filmmakers working on next? You said a new documentary, so tell us about that, and then I want to hear about you as well, Jamie.
So I'm in my 4th year of production for a documentary that I'm directing. It's about a mom in Ohio who was jailed for falsifying documents to enroll her daughters into her father's school district. So she lied and used her dad's address. He lived literally a mile away, but it was a different school district. And I'm transitioning from docs to narrative fiction after that one. So I'm working now on some short narrative fiction films about education issues.
I'm working on, I had to count 4 projects. They've all been in different stages of development. The first one is a documentary on Mr. James Wheeler. It's tentatively called Searching for Black Gold. He is a friend of mine's father who has passed on, who I knew, who inspired me in my film journey. When I finish his documentary, he should go down as the largest collector of Black cinema and art memorabilia in the world. So that's one. Second is, I'm sorry, should I stop that?
Is that your phone?
Yeah.
Grab it. And as you grab that, just to silence your phone, we're gonna also, after this answer, share where we can find you and support you on these next projects too. But what's the second project?
Thank you. The second project is a documentary that I began during COVID on my family's lineage. I have my great-grandfather and his brother killed 2 white police officers in 1900 because they had come to arrest the younger brother, who was 16, because he refused to take a smallpox vaccine. So that one's heavy because I started during COVID. So that's that one.
That's a scripted.
That's doc.
That's a doc.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be 2, it's doc and there's a narrative portion, but I'm working on the documentary. Third project is a feature film I wrote that takes place in my hometown of Flint, Michigan. It's called In the Trenches. It's in some hands right now. And fourth is a film called African American Tentatively that I wrote for a producer called Sydney Hall. And that one is slated to be produced by Ruth Carter, the Oscar winner for costume design.
So where can we find you?
Oh, for me, my film company is called Jomaja Films. Jomaja, and that represents Johnny, Olivia, Maxine, and Jamie. That's the lineage of women that I come from. Or, if that's too much, go to @Jamie Burton, like Tim Burton, or OARE on Instagram. I love your support.
Well, you can follow me at Stacey McClam on all social media platforms. It's Stacey with an IE, MCCLAM. You can follow Bar Daddy on all platforms, Bar Daddy Movie. And we do have a crowdfunding campaign, so if you're interested, I have cards outside where you can scan the QR code if you're interested. And yeah, if you're interested in giving a testimonial, you can meet me outside. It can be video or picture, just for social media to help us gain awareness. So, thanks.
I'm going to keep you both for a quick photo before you go and meet some folks. But everybody, Stacey McClam and Jamie Burton Orr, Bar Daddy and Bree, thank you so much for coming today. We have a couple more screenings the rest of the day, so take a look at these schedules that are out in the lobby for BraveMaker Film Festival. I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. We want to make it to year 7 next year, so if you were able to support us this year, please consider continuing to support us by texting BraveMaker to 44321 and checking us out at bravemaker.com/donate. We cannot do this and continue to tell brave stories that change the world without the support of all types of people that come and support us in Redwood City. So thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you guys the rest of the screenings. Thank you guys, you're amazing. Do you mind if I steal? Can you come and help me with the photo? Do you mind? Yeah. While this light is still on us.
Right, the good life.